Okay, so Inside Edition is going to be on. I'm watching it, listening to it while I'm talking to y'all. And when I left off, I said that being mixed has more disadvantages when it comes to racism than advantages. The disadvantage is that one, people who are mixed know this like I know this, and if you don't know this, you will learn it, like I had to learn it. The races that you come from tend to treat you probably worse, or should I say, the race that you look like the most will probably benefit you or non-benefit you depending on the person of that race. For instance, a lot of people find it hard to believe that I am black when I tell them that I am black. And they're like, yeah, sure you're black. And I'm like, this brown ain't enough for you? You know? And I was like, I'm mixed with black. And they're like, uh-huh, sure you're black. Sadly, I've had probably the worst reverse racism from black people. I've had some incidences with white people, and I've had little incidences with Native Americans. Native Americans are the ones I had the least incidences with. And other Asian people, I have never, ever had really incidences with them outside of that one incident with Zhang in grade school. And he was from Vietnam, which fucked me up because Zhang is a Chinese last name, but apparently it's interchangeable. Along with Cho, Ho, and Kim, apparently they're actually interchangeable with Vietnam and Korea. Anyway, that might have something to do with occupations. But bottom line is, outside of Zhang, I never had any incidences with Chinese people outside of that, and he wasn't Chinese. Again, he was from Vietnam. His last name was Zhang. I was like, that doesn't sound right, but he was from Vietnam because we had a fight. It wasn't a fist fight. I probably would have beat him then, but it was an argument. And he was geographically on point because I had never even fucking heard of Vietnam. And now Zhang and I was about the same age, so we were both born at the ass end of Vietnam. So, anyway, Zhang, we got to arguing. And I don't know what happened, but somehow or another, I told him to go back to China, eat rice cakes. And he said, fuck you, I'm from Vietnam. We don't eat no motherfucking rice cakes. Stereotypes, man. They'll fuck you up, and they'll also make you a liar. Anyway, don't believe stereotypes. Don't believe all stereotypes. Some of them damn things are on point. Okay, it also depends. We'll just leave that there. I won't go into that incident at the Chan house. That was a stereotype that turned out to be a real thing. Anyway, I still eat Chinese food. So, outside of that, whenever I've gone places like Taste of China, I was treated just like I was a Chinese person. When I've gone to any Asian restaurant in Canada, I was treated just like I was one of them. When I went anywhere white in Canada, I was treated like I was a white person. Canada was like the most non-racist place I've ever been in my life. I was like, if I could live in Toronto or Vancouver and I didn't have to get citizenship, but I could get a green card or whatever, I'm down. I can only live there during the summertime though, because I don't handle the cold very well. And it gets cold in the summertime in Toronto. Just in case you did not know that, now you do. This thing, not enough. But when I went to Canada, I had something that morally resembled this one, and it sucked. But every time after that, I've always taken two, like either one of these and one of those. I never really took a coat. I took a heavier jacket. Nothing up there remotely resembles it, but I took a heavier jacket. It was like a green jacket, had a lining in it that my boy A-Dog gave me. But anyway, let's see. How can I break this down and break it down in a peaceful manner? Alright, so if you look more white and you're mixed, you're not going to get that much flack from white people unless they're prejudiced or just dicks. If you look more black and you're mixed, you're probably not going to get that much flack from black people. Yeah, there's a big old white mouse that you're supposed to kick and explode in saying, don't you believe him? That's probably right. I have had a lot of reverse racism from black people. But that was from kindergarten to high school. I've had maybe 5 racist incidents with white people. Maybe. No. But not really as many as I had with black people. And the 2 with Native Americans. But whenever I went like to Canada or whatever, I mean, I went into like Korean restaurants and Chinese restaurants, and everywhere I was treated like I was Korean or Chinese or Japanese. Wherever I went, I was treated like I was one of them. Which goes back to video 2, as one of my brothers said, that's because you look like them. They probably think you're one of them. I was like, I don't think so. I was like, I don't look as Asian as Tiger Woods, dude. Try again. Anyway, I said, it could just be that I'm exceptionally polite. Or they are exceptionally polite. And that is kind of one of the Asian rule of thumb, is to always just be polite. You know. However, not all Asians follow that rule. That's also a stereotype. Most of the Asians that I've met have followed that rule. Now, like I said, up until recent, I hadn't really seen the Asian and black issue until I got on the internet. I've seen a lot of Asian and black issues where Asians hate blacks and vice versa. I'm not gonna not be fair, and vice versa. I've even watched a racist porn once where this black dude, he still managed to wind up having sex with the Asian woman, but he hated Asian women. And I don't know if it was like an ambush porn. It was like many years ago. And somehow or another, whoever he was scheduled to have sex with wasn't scheduled to have sex with. Sorry, I have a bump on my nose, like right on the cusp. Anyway, so he wasn't supposed to have sex with this Asian chick, but the shot had to get shot. And so he's like, man, I'm good with whoever you want me to have sex with, but I'm not having sex with no fucking Asian people. And I'm like, okay. It wasn't his speed, but he did manage to have sex with her, and he didn't change his mind. Yeah, he still hated it even after he enjoyed her, but he's like, at the end of the video, he's like, you know what? That wasn't bad. She was really tight, but honestly, I just don't like Asian women. So I don't know if he ever made any more, and you know, I stumbled in on that to begin with. But hatred is a thing, man, and hatred is a thing that is spread equally around the globe, regardless of your gender and your ethnicity. Hatred, everybody has it. And same thing with racism. You may not be racist, but the guy next to you who looks like you could very well be racist. And that's a problem. You know, it's like the reason why I'm making this video is because of the conversation the young lady and I had in sociology, and about how people approach me because they know that I'm mixed. And you know, I am not ashamed to be mixed. I'm actually very proud to be mixed. It's just that the world doesn't want to say that I exist. So really the world's reflecting around the only 2 famous mixed people that they really count is basically The Rock and Tiger Woods. But I exist too. I just haven't been reluctantly enough to score a good acting career, which I'm still fighting for as we speak. But the thing is, if there's nobody writing roles for me, I can't work. Now, as of comic books and everything, they're starting to be more open-minded to more mixed people, etc., etc. They just haven't wrote a superhero for me. But I can still be a superhero. No one's gonna care what my race is when I'm behind this outfit, jumping around, spinning around, throwing kicks and everything, and then my secret identity comes out. Oh, what's your story? Now here's the thing. Miles Morales, he's actually biracial. He has a Latin parent and a black parent. Miguel O'Hara, that guy with the blue and red spikes, he's actually mixed. He's half Irish and half Mexican. So there is a place for me, Marvel, and I'll gladly be Miguel O'Hara. I really don't like the fact that he doesn't have a spider sense, though. We can probably retcon that, right? But anyway, everything else is okay with him. I also don't like the fact that he has to have claws to actually scale the wall, and they're strong as hell, but it's still the fact that he has to have them instead of just being like the OG Spider-Man where he can actually just do that. And I think they retract, which is cool if they retract. But anyway, they don't fuck up the suit either, which is also cool. But other than that, you know, there are not really a lot of mixed superheroes, and if there are, there's not so many storylines. Now there are hybrids where some of the heroes, like Adam X, was half alien, half human, and he got his superpowers from his father's side because the gene in the mutant history comes from the male, not the female. which kind of doesn't make sense because the male is XY and the female is XX. I think I could be wrong there, but you know, you can go Google that. But for the most part, you know, there's not a lot of reputation for me. So, you know, but the problem is when you are mixed, the biggest disadvantage you have is that you have to figure out where you fit in society, because 1 in 25 of us actually have friends who are mixed versus friends who are not. Alright? Let me break that down for you. When I was going to Burley Moran, I may have been one of 3, but it seemed like I was the only one who everybody knew was mixed. Time I got to Walker, I was probably one of 7. But me and B-Dog seemed to be the only 2, and Sophia seemed to be the only 3 that people seemed to know were mixed. So somewhere along the line, someone in that school saw all of our white ass mamas show up for something. But if you went to Burley Moran with me, then you saw my white ass mama at Burley Moran the day I punched the white girl in the mouth for calling me the N-word, which I still haven't forgiven myself for. You know, I should have never done that shit. Because I was studying martial arts, I was street fighting, I knew better. I was raised not to hit girls, and the shit just lickety-split happened. Now, a lot of that tends to happen with, you know, not being aware. And I was very much aware I was not supposed to hit girls. But my left hand was not aware that the N-word was something that is okay, but not okay to hit girls with. And I mean, she looked me dead in the face and said, "James, you're right." And my left hand said, "Pow!" And my mom came to school. And she got to arguing with the parents. And they got to argue with my mom because they didn't know that I wasn't white. And then it's like, why would your white child hit our white child in the mouth? Would have been justified if I would have been white, though, because it would have been like me saving a black kid's life or some shit like that. I like to think it that way. But no, they didn't know my mom wasn't white. They had no idea that my mom was mixed. My mom looks white, so they just thought my mom was white. So she told them, you know, if you keep this up, I'm gonna use kung fu on you too. As my kid knows martial arts. And that kind of, it would seem like it would have made it worse for me at the time, but the principal, Mr. Gary, who's from New York, who's Italian, who was kind of darker than my mom, but he was still white. You know, Italians, they got a little bit of tannish to them, like permanent tan. So, he said, "Okay, look, y'all daughter should not have called him that." And it took me almost an hour to get that boy to talk. Her son is mixed. That's why you hit your daughter in the mouth. You know, and y'all shouldn't be teaching your kid that shit at home or anywhere, because this is what happens. You don't know who you're going to meet. You don't know who you're going to piss off. And she called him a word that, for lack of a better term, he told me himself, we don't use that word in our house. I was like, we could cuss all day in the house. MF this, SOB that, F, D, P, snot. You know, we can say damn near any cuss word in the world. But we never use the N-word in our house. Before we moved over here, we never used that word when we lived in the projects. We never used the N-word. Ever. And we knew that it was bad. Yeah, it was probably worse than anything that could ever come out of our mouths. And my mom was a single household. You know, at this time, there was only 2 of us. Yeah, I think it might have been 2 of us and 1 coming. Because I was in 3rd grade. I don't remember how old I was when my sister that was born under me. I don't remember. I know I was up there, but I know I was in school, and I know when I hit that girl in the mouth, I was between the 3rd and 4th grade, and right in the mouth. But I really, the late Alex Trebek, I really shouldn't have done it, but it just could not be helped. And I guess it's because I've been street fighting for so long, what my mom wasn't aware of, that it just like, it was like a switch. Pow! And I put my hand back down, it was like the switch went right back off. and I was peaceful, punky James again. And that in itself put me on a path of knowing the truth about people and knowing what racism is. And kids, man, we don't know what racism is until we're taught that shit. That was what really opened my eyes. I knew that there was a problem with being mixed because of Lily and because of Sony and because of Emily and other black girls in my life at the time, and how hard they were on me for being not black all the way. And it was a pain in the ass. So the 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 problem was that started believing him, and the abuse just never really stopped until we went to Walker. When we went to Walker, I didn't have to deal with Lily anymore. I didn't have to deal with Sony anymore. And that might have been the fact that I failed 4th grade, so they went ahead of me. And then, it was just all kinds of other stuff. But, you have to understand that when you're dealing with other people and you're multicultural, you have to understand that they don't know what you go home to. They don't know that you got a mother that's this color and this is their life. And you have a father who's this color and this is their life and it doesn't match their life. But somewhere along there, their love came together and created you. So you have a combo of both lives. And here's the thing. With our white ancestors and our white relatives, we rarely got to go see them. But when we did get to go see them, the ones that acknowledged us, there's no color there. No, kids don't see color. But on my dad's side, all we do was the black side because Grandma Ada and Grandma Bay never took us back to the reservation. Never took us back. Didn't even consider the reservation anything but an afterthought. It was good stories. My brother John and I would run through the moccasins. Oh, we had scary creatures, etc., etc. She would tell me shit like that. I don't remember everything because by the time I was old enough to retain anything, she was dead. So it doesn't matter. But the part of the matter is that she never prepared me for, you're not pure blood. I never prepared me for that shit. Never prepared me for that shit. So when I had my first Native American racist incident, it fucked me up. I mean, it literally fucked me up because I was getting it so badly from black people that the last thing that I thought in the new known universe was that I would bump into a Native American, a beautiful Native American girl, and one of her guardians would tell me that I couldn't talk to her, that I couldn't look at her, that I couldn't speak to her because I'm not pure blood. I haven't forgotten you, bastard. And then the other guardian, who was also with her, so I guess both of these guys were like her uncle. And she was legal, she wasn't like no kid or nothing, because I was in my 20s and she was like 19, 20, somewhere in there. And she had a little issue with her leg or whatever. The other guardian came to me and says, you're not a bad guy, but we're not really down with mixed racing or race mixing, and you could pass for us, but our tribe would prefer not to have someone who's not like us. And he was a lot nicer at his racism. It's like, you're not pure blood, but you're not a bad guy. But this other guy had a chip on his shoulder, so he had to break it down, explain it to me. But I still wanted to fight. Because it's like, but the guy was in a wheelchair. So that kind of gave him the advantage. And I know you're thinking, he's in a wheelchair. Why does that give him the advantage? I have this thing that I live by that I'm going to die by. And it's called honor. All I have is my honor. And as much as I wanted to flip him out that fucking wheelchair, there was no honor in fighting a man who can't stand up for himself. And not because he literally don't have the ability to stand up for himself. Is actually what I meant to say was, he was crippled, and he wouldn't have been able to defend himself against me. As a martial artist, as a street fighter, I probably would have killed him. And I'm not underestimating him or anything like that. I know what I'm capable of. I know where to strike a person. I know how to hit someone and just end it. Other people don't know how to do that. A good shot to the solar plexus will bring anybody down. It doesn't matter how big they are. If they don't know how to protect, if they can't exhale, you ain't gonna exhale every hit that I throw. I promise you that. You're not going to exhale. I'm not going to exhale every hit that you throw. But I'm going to do my best to absorb it. If I know you're throwing an uppercut and it's going to hit me, I'm going to jump up so that it's going to reduce that impact when it hits me. You know, I'm going to just basically try to set myself on it so that I can keep fighting. You know, I'm not just going to try to, because it might work that first time, might not work that second time. You know, plus if you hit me once here and then you body shot me, and then I might not be able to recover in time to protect again. So, you know, you got to know how to hit a person. You got to know exactly where to hit a person and how much oomph you got to put behind it. So hitting a man who literally cannot get out of the chair and stand up would have been a strike against me and God. You know, God probably would have definitely not liked that shit. Well, James, remember that time? I can see myself in heaven now and God telling me, remember that time that you beat up that Native American who could not get out of that chair to defend himself because he calls you unpure blood? And I can see my old great-grandmother Ada walking in with her angel wings. I can't bail you out of this one, son. And I'll just be like, yes, God, I am guilty. And for that, son, you're going to hell. So, yeah. And I always had dreams about, like, if I hit someone who couldn't fight back, would I wind up in hell because of my skills and stuff like that. But, yeah, you know, when you are mixed, your main disadvantage is that no one really knows where you are on your level. I've applied for plenty of jobs, and I've put down black. And I've had plenty of people go, are you sure that is your ethnicity? And I look at the deals like, do I need my birth certificate? Because my birth certificate says Negro, so literally I'm black. You don't look black to me. Well, I'm not all the way black. But my birth certificate says that I'm black. So I fill out black. I don't fight the system. No. I mean, you can fight the system now. I mean, I could push to have my birth certificate changed. What's the point of that? You know, I've been black for 47 damn years. Ain't no need to worry about it now. But, you know, I'm definitely mixed. But, I mean, whenever I fill out an application, I don't put other. I just put black. And I get the fucked up ass side eyes from black people. And they were like, you ain't one of us. And that's been a problem from kindergarten to college. Trust me when I tell you there has been many a time where I've put down black and I've had black people give me the side. I'd be like, motherfucker, kill your Mexican ass on somewhere. Or my favorite, motherfucker, you better go back to Hawaii. You fucking black guy, what's wrong with you? You know, I've gotten it all. You know, I've had probably half an issue with white people on the job when I fill out black, and they'll be like, okay, you want to put down black, that's fine. But my favorite, when I was applying for security at Martha Jefferson, is like, you're Arlene's kid, right? Yeah. You sure you marking that the right color? Like, you know my damn mama. You know we black. Obviously that person did not know my mom was black. Now it happens. I didn't get the job. But I didn't get the job because I was my own worst enemy. See my man bun? I had a rat tail. And me and Cecil, that's the guy's name, we got into it. And even though he knew my mom, we got into it because he was balding. He had the reverse fade. You know, he had all of this was gone, the hair here. And he said, so what are you going to do if somebody grabs your rat tail and pull it? I said, first and foremost, if I'm dumb enough to let somebody get behind me, then I deserve it. Second, I know Kung Fu and I'm not afraid to use it. So if he get behind me, I screwed up. No, that's on me. So what if they rip it off? I said, then they rip it off. I said, you must think it's going to kill me or something. I was like, it's hair, dude. They rip it off, they rip it off. But after they rip it off, they're going to be a sorry-ass individual. And I said, you can't make me cut my hair to get the job, man. That's fucking discrimination. It's like, well, you can't get the job if you don't cut your hair. I said, I'm not cutting my hair. Well, you can't get the job. TTFN. And so I left. Ta-ta for now, people. It wasn't nothing nasty. And I didn't have a problem with Cecil. I had a problem with the fact that everybody in the place had the reverse fade, and I had hair. I had my curly hair up here, and my little rat tail. My rat tail wasn't going anywhere, and I didn't give a damn who liked it because I didn't want to cut off my ponytail. But I got my ponytail cut off because I got tired of alcoholic bums thinking that I was some ugly man chick, and they were following me home. So that's that. But the thing is, on a lot of jobs and shit, filling out black has like worked more against me than for me, and trying to convince the boss, yo, dude, I'm actually black. It's like, yeah, right, shit, you're black. So, like, what do I have to do? Do I have to, like, cuss? Because I can do that. Because at one point in time, I never had heard Asian people cuss before. No. And if I heard Spanish people cuss, they cussed in Spanish. So, I couldn't identify the shit they were saying. But I heard Asian people cuss for the first time in my lifetime watching Jet Li's movie, The Black Mask. Prior to that, I never heard an Asian person cuss before a day in my life. Like, ever. Never heard an Asian person say damn, never heard them say fuck, shit, none of that crap. Until I seen The Black Mask, and in The Black Mask, the word MF was used about 40 times. Not by Jet Li, but by the co-stars and the other people. And I'm like, damn, this shit got an R rating. It's looking more like it might have been an NC-17 for the language alone. But every time you turned around, somebody was cussing. Somebody was calling somebody an MF, and I was like, so glad I was over 18 when I paid to go see that. I would not let my kid have gone to see that. The Black Mask 2 with Donnie Yen didn't have that much cussing in it, at least not in the English version. In the English version of Black Mask in America, there was so much MFing that really messed me up. The second time, which technically would be the legal first time that I ever heard an Asian person cuss, was when I joined the military. And I had a drill sergeant named Fong Sino. How you doing, sir? I know, don't call you sir, you work for a living. But Drill Sergeant Fong Sina only knew one word. Motherfucker. And the only other phrase he knew was two-legged fish. And the other word that he used was bitch. So, don't get trapped, you motherfuckers, by a bitch. You be a two-legged fish. Do not go fishing with two-legged fish. Don't go fucking with bitches, because they will take all your fucking money. Which clearly he was obviously the victim of. Now, Fong Sino was a cool-ass motherfucker, if you could actually understand what the fuck he was saying, because he spoke broken English really, really well, until the words, motherfucker, bitch, two-legged fish. Other than that, I had never heard an Asian swear before, other than in The Black Mask. All my Asian friends were, like, very, very conservative. They rarely ever cussed. I think Eric Chen and Adrian Cao didn't cuss in my film Fallen Dragons. I don't recall them ever cussing. So it's like, yeah. So I'm striving to be more like them. I'm working on my mouth. So I'm sorry for this video and all the swearing in it. And Alex Trebek. But the thing with racism and why us mixed people feel it so bad is because, like I said, alright, when coronavirus hit, alright, the first thing I thought of was every Asian person that I knew. The first thing I thought of that was because of the simple fact that there are racist people in the black community who do not like Asians, and they don't like white people. All in the same boat. There are racist people in the Asian community who do not like white people, who do not like black people. And there are racist people in the white community who do not like black people and do not like Asians. So at this time, when the coronavirus struck, I started getting worried about all my Asian friends. It's like, dude, I gotta worry about this guy. I'm leaving off names now that I've already named two. I was worried about them because Adrian and Eric, those dudes were not the people I was worried about. I was worried about whatever asshole would try to fight them. They were gonna get fucked up. Especially Eric. Eric's thick and solid, and he knows pressure points. Hi, Eric. Fucked up my feet. He's a badass. And Adrian's a badass. They both were badasses. And Philip's tight. But I was more worried about Philip than I would ever be worried about Eric and Adrian. Because Philip's small like me. And I don't know how the depth of his skill is. I know the depth of my skill, but no one's going to mistake me for an Asian man on the street that I know of. No one in Charlottesville, rather. So, I didn't worry about those two as much as I worried about Philip. And then I worried about my boy, who takes pictures for a living because he's living up in New York. And that was like one of the places where there was like Asian attacks central. And then I seen the young white guy chasing the Asian woman with Lysol. I seen the young black guy try to fight the Asian girl on the subway and then fight her at the subway station between Chinatown and Brooklyn or something like that. And I got to worrying about my friends. And then there was the Bowie sisters. I worried about them because I know they're from Springfield, but I don't know where they are now. And I don't know what they're doing now. And thank you, ladies. And I only really worried about my Asian friends. I didn't really worry about my black friends. I was like, most of my black friends aren't going around attacking Asian people. I say, if anything, they're probably on the run from white cats. But, I didn't think that it would be that this black and Asian rivalry. And then 2 weeks ago, or 3 weeks ago, I watched a rapper who is a YouTube influencer or whatever. He moved to Arizona where he was filming, and it was the first time that I seen an Asian man harass a black guy and call him the N-word. And it fucked me up because most of the Asian people that I know don't do that. So that was like new to me, but I also don't know that guy. I just started following the rapper because he was cool as hell, I'm still following him. And I can't remember his name to save my life. And he started filming this video. And this Asian dude popped up on him and he started calling him, hey, N-word, what do you think you're doing? This is public property. I can film wherever I want. And there was a big fight, argument, whatever. And then the Asian guy went back to work, but he was still harassing the black guy. And I'm like, see, this is the shit that happens when our president starts talking about the Chinese virus. And the black guy didn't even bother the Chinaman. And he just kept, the Asian man, because I'm not sure if he was Chinese or not. Which is another reason why I was worried about my Asian friends because of that mistake that I just made. There are people who are racist who don't know if you're Chinese or not. And my friend who is actually Chinese, not my Korean friend, not my other Chinese friends, Adrian and Eric, because I know they'll fuck you up. Philip's Filipino. My Asian friend whose name I'm not going to mention because he takes pictures and I don't want to fuck him up and ruin his job or anything like that. I was worried about him because he's a scrawny guy like me too. And I don't know his martial art level. My friend who's a preacher's kid, who's Korean. He's a badass. He knows Taekwondo, so I'm not too worried about my friends who are Asian, who I know specifically know martial arts. All right. So unless you catch them sleeping, you're actually asking for a beating. I'm serious. If you fuck with those guys that I named, if you're looking for a beating, they will give it to you. So I'm not worried about them. But my other friends who are frail body like me, I'm frail body, but I'm dangerous. And he might be more dangerous than me, but I didn't want to put them in danger. So, I was worried about them. And when you see other racist people attacking Asians and not knowing what Asian country they're from. And then there's a young girl in my other class where we have to read this book over the weekend, plus other stuff. She was in fear for her life, and she had talked about that in our class. And she's a refugee. She's not Chinese, but she was a refugee from whatever country she came from to China, but she's still Asian. And she was in fear of her life because of the way certain white people were looking at her before she went to go vote and all kinds of other things. She would tell us everything. And I could relate, and I was like, yeah, man, I kind of worry about these people because we have a president that's still active, still talking about the virus and calling it the Chinese virus or Kung Flu. And so I was really, really scared for all my Asian friends. And then whenever I turned on the internet, the last thing that I turned on before all the election and all the other shit went haywire, that a woman in New York who was of Asian descent had pretty much got set on fire when she got off the bus. And then there was another woman before that who was like 54 who was beat up by 3 black girls. And I'm like, this is the thing that drives me insane because there are some people who don't know the difference and will just outright attack you because you're Asian. And I don't worry for myself because I'm not fucking Asian. So it's not like they're not gonna come after me. And anybody who's watching me on Comfort Avenue number 2, you see my videos. I'm good with my shit. So hip replacement or not, I'm also a vet. I have some military training. So I'm not worried about me. But as far as my friends who are like family, and everybody that I just named are like family. So I gotta look out for them because they looked out for me. And especially my bro that takes pictures. And he's doing very well up there. The last thing I want to do is have him text me and say that something happened. Because if I can get a ride to New York, I'm going to kill somebody. But anyway, yeah, I'm never going to get to New York not with my shoestring budget of money that I don't have. But it's just nice to know that I have friends of different ethnicities that I love like family, and I don't want nothing to happen to them. And being that New York and California have been the Asian racist attack central. The guy in San Francisco was an elderly man attacked by two black guys. One was just filming it, and the other one was getting him because he was trying to collect cans. And he just straight up says, "I don't fucking like Asians," And I'm like, dude, that's kind of like really, really cracked up. I had an empty water bottle somewhere. I don't know where I went to. But anyway, that kind of made me worry, and I'm like, okay, found it. That kind of made me worried, and I'm like, okay, you got these two black guys, as big as fucking, they're attacking this little Asian dude, and everybody else is fucking recording it and just watching it. The guy recording it, yeah, I hate fucking Asians, and I'm like, dude, why don't you talk to this guy who's swinging the fucking stick at the little Asian man who's just trying to collect cans? And the little Asian man was every bit of 80, 85. He was old, and that just disgusted me. And I made a video about it, and the video falls into one of those I'm ashamed to be black because of, and that was it. And I mean, I really felt ashamed that day to be black because that was some uncalled for shit. And for like the other 15 black people that were there watching, I'm like, dudes, y'all see this shit is wrong. He's an old man. Fuck, take the fact that he's Asian out. I don't want nobody doing that to my grandfather. Granted, my biological grandfather's dead. My step-grandfather's still alive. He Preston. But, I still wouldn't want nobody to do that to my step-grandfather either. Because he's an old man. And, I wouldn't want anybody to do that to anybody that I know. Let alone, let alone somebody I don't know. But this is what's been going on. And I'm like, what the fuck? I thought I cut the shit off. Sorry. Somebody's TikTok came across my thing. Anyway, so I'm sitting there, I'm like, wow, man, what have we become? And this is what we have become. We've literally become a place where racism is okay. And it's not. It's not. No. It's never okay to be racist. Under any circumstances whatsoever, it's not okay. And this was the thing that drove me, and it pissed me off, and it hurt my feelings so bad, and I put on there. And if I could have, pulled all the videos, I would have put them all on there. And I've made videos where I'm ashamed to be Native American. I've made videos where I'm ashamed to be white. The thing with the white videos, the reason why there aren't so many is because we're all kind of desensitized to if a white person does something, because most white people don't really do anything insane unless they're actually insane, or they're just hunger for attention, with the exception of that asshole that shot up the fucking movie theater, the asshole that shot up the fucking concert, the asshole that did the other thing, and 90% of the school shootings, except for in kindergarten, were shot up by white cats. So, those were things that were that makes me ashamed to have white blood. But, other than that, I love white people, and sometimes y'all just do some crazy shit, so we're kind of used to it. But when a black person fucks up, we fuck up royally. And when a white person fucks up, even if they fuck up royally, it doesn't affect the white community the way if a black person fucks up, it totally affects the black community. If an Asian person fucks up, it affects the Asian community, but it depends on the Asian community. If somebody Japanese fucks up, you shun Japan for a little bit. Somebody Chinese fucks up, you shun China for a little bit, but you don't shun the other Asian communities. And then if somebody from Vietnam or Korea or Indonesia or some shit fuck up, then you shun them. But you kind of leave the other ones out most of the time. But when this coronavirus dropped, oh fuck no. Everybody hated China. And everybody started picking on Chinese. I'm like, hold on. hold on. And then all these Asian attacks started happening. I'm like, hold on. That person might not even been from China. Even if they were biologically Chinese, they could have been born here. They could have been an ABC. Okay, for those who have no idea what that means, ABC means American-born Chinese. If you're ABA, that means I can't actually identify the Asian culture that you come from, so ABA. Just to get that out the way. Sorry, text. Someone asked me how my Scarlet Spider secret fan film is going. Hold on a second. It's done, but my computer won't let me edit it. Anyway, yeah, the whole thing, I started worrying. Now, when Miss Rainbird, who might have been on something that day, drove her RV. Sorry. Anyway, when Miss Rainbird, whatever Jesus juice she was on, decided to take her RV that apparently was stolen and two dogs that apparently were dog napped on a joyride through LA. That day I was like, oh my God, I was so ashamed to be Native American. The good news is that she wasn't Cherokee. I forgot what tribe Miss Rainbird was from. Try to keep it posted. Anyway, let's find out. What tribe is Miss Rainbird from? Oh dear. This thing totally didn't, it gave me a rain bird to follow, but it didn't, give me what I needed. Travel Channel. Sorry, I'm into spooky stuff. And that's a rerun. So, let's see. Is that a rerun? It's Manhunt, and it is a rerun. I'm just going to leave it there, and I'm going to mute the TV. Which tribe is the Lady Rainbird who drove through LA in an RV from? Okay. Well, I got footage I can go back to. I just want to know her tribe. Well, I have footage here.
It's time for Jerry.
After this ad, I don't know who Jerry is, and I'm not getting a skip ad thing. Okay.
An RV chase ripping through the San Fernando Valley here. The driver of that motorhome not seeming to care about other lives or the two dogs inside.
But continues to try. Oh, right there. Major TC.
This was crazy. Many people were rushed to hospitals as
dog.
the driver plowed into cars. Now, during that chase, one of the dogs actually fell out, and another was seen limping around after the crashing in there. NBC4's Kim Tobin, live for us in Tarzana with an update on the dog.
Okay.
Who they actually belong to. Hey, Kim.
Hey, Michael, good afternoon to you. We know these dogs were microchipped, and Animal Services says they ran those chips and they actually came up to
I
a
just want to
different owner,
see the
not
tribe.
the suspect, not the woman behind the wheel. But look at all of this destruction right in front of this house. This is where the motorhome crashed for the final time, and the chase came to an end. And tonight we're learning more about the driver's long criminal history.
Just give me a damn tribe.
A manic motorhome police pursuit. The woman behind the wheel leading patrol cars from Simi Valley to the San Fernando Valley.
She just collided with those palm trees.
Several crashes, one near the
I
Northwood
apologize.
Shopping
I
Center,
just want the
shutting off
lady's
front end of the
tribe.
motorhome. And she wasn't alone. Two dogs inside, one making a jump for it.
Afortunadamente no.
One woman crime rate. Really? I mean, unbelievable.
Finally, off Tampa Avenue in Wells Drive, it all came to a crashing end in Tarzana.
Oh, right there, another car.
She just jumped
Yeah,
out
she was
and took
totaling
off.
the block.
Police arresting the driver, 52-year-old Julie Ann Rainbird. The two dogs taken to Animal Services, one treated by Dr. Hugh Sanders.
Treated her wounds.
Yeah, the poor dog broke his leg.
Do that, bandaging her palms.
I mean, you guys can Google it, but this is like the video
And LA Animal
in
Services tells us
2019.
the two dogs are microchipped and do not belong to the driver. Rainbird has a long criminal history, including several convictions ranging from burglary to meth possession to identity theft. And police say the motorhome was reported stolen. This woman, Lou Sanchez, says Rainbird actually bought it using her driver's license and ID after her purse was stolen.
She opened a credit card account on Wells Fargo under my name.
A crashing end to a wild pursuit, putting pets
And you see,
people
hearing
in
that
harm's way.
is kind of what made me make my
In
video
addition to all of this damage,
of why I
6
was
cars
ashamed
were
to be
hit,
Native
4
American
people were
that
hurt,
day.
including the woman driving the motorhome. And talking to Animal Services, they say those dogs are now in their care. Again, they are expected to make that full recovery, and they're trying to get in touch with that original owner. Reporting live in Tarzana, Kim Tobin, NBC4 News.
Well, Miss Rainbird is a Native American, and I'm trying to find her tribal, and this is not telling me. I didn't even know her name was Julie Ann. I just thought her name was Miss Rainbird. I didn't know what the hell her first name was. But I made the video about how I was ashamed to be Native American that day, and it's on here on YouTube. And you'll probably be able to find her tribe before I can find her tribe, because I'll find Jesus on the internet before I find the tribe in which she came from. Which spins it back down to why I was worried about my Asian friends. Not just because Native Americans are biologically Asian, but because of the simple fact that, you know, people who are racist are going to be racist. And they may not understand the difference between Chinese, Japanese, Korean, Vietnam, Laos, Indonesia, Malaysia. They may not understand the difference. They just may all see a person whose eyes are different and decide, hey, this person's Asian. Automatic. Chinese. You got the Chinese virus. You got the coronavirus. We're going to beat your ass. And this has caused a lot of conflict and a lot of stuff. And it's one of the reasons why I had always been worried about my friends, because of their being Asian. And I was like, yeah, see, this doesn't work for me, because I don't want any of my friends to get hurt that are Asian because some racist asshat doesn't know the difference. And then there's always the stereotype of we all look alike, and that goes to everybody. That's not just blacks and whites and Asians and Mexicans. It goes to everybody. And everybody believes that everybody else all looks alike anyway. So when you have people who are racist, who could care two shits of what you actually are and just decide, okay, well, I'll decide for you. If I think you're Chinese, I'm going to call you Chinese. Even if you're not Chinese. I'm going to call you Chinese, and I'm going to beat you because I think you're Chinese. Even though your ethnicity is so far south from China. You could be from Tahiti, who are not Chinese. They are Polynesian. You know, which I closer resemble Polynesian than anything else outside of Native American. And I have been mistaken for a Hawaiian once or twice. But, you know, the thing is, with all these people that are racist and attacking people because of their race, and not actually knowing what that person's race is, you know, that had me worried about all my friends. And so when I made the Miss Rainbird thing, you know, I didn't want to be Native American that day because I knew that this was going to be an issue. This is 49 minutes long, so what I'm going to do is make a fourth part, and hopefully these reflections will teach you guys something about me. Now, I will say this before I end this. My greatest shame was wanting to be a cowboy when I was 3, because I didn't know I was part Native American. My greatest recovery from that was finding out that I actually could be a cowboy and a Native American, thanks to John Bravestar from the cartoon Bravestar, who was Native American and a cowboy. And 3030 is the only horse that I'm not afraid of. Other than that, I'm dreadfully afraid of horses. I don't know why I'm afraid of horses, but I like unicorns. But I'm not afraid of unicorns, but I am afraid of horses. And in the sense of all things, a unicorn and an alicorn is a fucking horse. Stay tuned for part 4.